All right. What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with a live stream finally after like 1 to 2 weeks. I think we're going on like the second week that I was not able to post, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But first and foremost, welcome back to everybody. We got about 550 of us here, and if you're new to the channel and looking to network with a bunch of like-minded individuals, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button below. I'm going to try to finally get back in the rhythm of posting live usually every single day, or at the minimum usually about every other day, as I usually get off work early enough where I can do so. But I was going to try to do a stream Sunday for Sunday Stock Watch. My internet was acting up and whatnot, and hopefully it will not do that today. And I finally got everything set up today. I was going to try to do a stream yesterday as well. Just didn't work out that way because I got off work really late and I had some other things I had to do in the evening. But hopefully the stream is doing all right. As always, if there are any issues, sound, video quality, anything like that, definitely feel free to shout out there in the comments. And of course, if you have any questions, ticker symbols, comments, anything like that, that is what the chat box is over there for. But we're going to talk a little bit about oil, natural gas. That's what we talk about the most here. We obviously talk a lot about oil, really heavy oil here. If you're into drip, gush, UWT, DWT, USO, all those different type of oil, ETFs, ETN stocks, then you would definitely click with our what we got going on here. We have a Discord group chat too that's down in the description box. There's over 50 of us in there now. It's just awesome to network with a bunch of like-minded people. But like I said, today we're just going to talk briefly for about 15 to 20 minutes about natural gas and oil. Natural gas, we called it out last few streams leading up to today. Said over and over, we go back to the 1 year. You can see, you can go back to every single chart really. Just you go back to 1 year, 2 year, and I think even 3 year. We knew that right around 255, 250 to 255 was like the ultimate support for natural gas. If we broke it down, we could possibly make some really, really big new lows, like right around, I think, 2.2, if I remember right, or even lower. But luckily we didn't, at least for those of you that are long natural gas, we didn't, and that's a very good sign, because if we just go based on recent trends, if I can pull up, I thought I was on the 3 year, there we go, 3 year 1 week chart, you can see pretty much every time we touch this low, we had a pretty good run afterwards. So you can see right here, we touched 255 and a half, and then we jumped all the way up to over 3.7, upwards of 3.8. And then obviously we came back down again, and then we touched 2.5, or just above 2.5 actually. And then again, we came up over 3, close to 3.5. And then we just did a little bit in between, and then again, we came down to around 2.5, 2.55, and then we went on another run again up above 3. And then obviously this time we got saved right around 2.54, and we're already back up to 2.65. So what would you think based on just history and what the chart shows? One could guess that just based on the recent patterns over the last 2 to 3 years, that natural gas will eventually run back up to around 3. Now, is it guaranteed? No. Obviously, this thing is going to have tons of resistance right around like 2.7. And then I forget, I think also around 2.77. You're going to have some pretty solid, there's going to be tons of resistances, of course. But again, just based on the recent pattern, one can guess that natural gas is going to go up over 3. So what does that mean for those of you that trade the UGAS and DGAS? That means you're probably going to want to be long UGAS. And UGAS is still at a pretty decent price point, around $30. I personally would want to get it a little bit cheaper. But whenever you're thinking long term, do I think this is going to go up over $500? Absolutely not. I'm thinking max, probably somewhere around 100. But even then, I mean, even if it came up to $100 because of the whole decay and everything, say you got in right around $30 to $31, say you wrote it up to, I mean, let's not even say 100, let's say you just wrote it up to the first area of resistance around 55, you're talking an 84-85% return on your money. Now, how long is that going to take? Who knows? I mean, it could take months or years even, but I mean, there's still a good chance that you could squeeze 80% return on your investment. I've even considered buying a few shares of UGAS on a pullback, as I just added a little bit more money to my account today. But obviously, I'm still heavy in oil, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But what does that mean for those of you that are in degas? I hope you're not holding out, because I mean, this thing is still over $100. Definitely always lock the profits. We always say that whenever you got in. I know a lot of you, we'll go ahead and just go to the recent chart, 180 day. I know a lot of you guys were getting in this around like $80 to $90. So I mean, if you got in around $80 or $90, don't hold out, because the longer you hold, you're going to get caught bag holding, and eventually you're going to end up breaking even or losing money. So what do I always say? If you're in the green, always consider taking some positions off the table. I'm even considering doing so with UWT, which we'll just go ahead and transition to that, because UWT is approaching some recent resistance, and I would not be surprised, in all honesty, if another buying opportunity occurs here in the next couple of days. I'm bullish on oil, of course, and whenever I look at oil's chart and everything, oil has room to run, but it's hitting a new resistance around 56.5, between 56.5 to 56.7. It's starting to hit some area of resistance. You can see it's at 56.33 right now, which puts it down technically. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens with oil. But we'll go ahead and just hop over to my Robinhood account. So if we go just to like the last week, obviously I've just been holding. So technically I was up last week. But you can see overall for the month that I started doing this again, you can see we were down pretty hefty because of UWT and Gush, as those are the only things I've had. But then I just wrote it out. I wish I had put money into the account whenever Gush and UWT dropped here. What was it, last week, I believe? If we go back to the 10-day chart, go to UWT. I wish that I'd put more money in, because I definitely would have bought this stuff up under $12 crazily and kept buying it all the way back up, but I didn't. So I was in the mix of moving and everything. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of money on hand for the move and everything, as of course it always ends up costing more than you expect. But overall for the month, this percentage is based on the $1,000. Obviously at the time I was only trading with about 500. It showed right before I put money in here today. I literally just put it in right before the stream. It showed I was up, I believe, like 5% roughly, like 4.8. I don't remember to be exact, but it was between 4 and 5% overall for the month since I started trading again. So again, it's just all about consistency, just consistently being green. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1, just do not lose money. I could have easily, and trust me, I was not even pulling up my Robinhood whenever I saw oil was dropping, because I knew oil was going to bounce somewhere at or above $50. And what happened? Where did oil bounce? Like 51, wasn't it? Pull up here. So yeah, it bounced right above $51 as I expected. I said weeks ago, whenever I first hopped into Gush and UWT, I was like, I still would not be surprised if this tries to retest that $50 to $51 range. Sure enough, it did. I should have bought some more whenever it was this low, but again, like I said, life happens, and I was busy at the time. Now, what do I think is going to happen going forward with oil? I think the next 24 to 48 hours are going to be pretty crucial. My gut tells me the oil is going to go ahead and leg up over $57 just by looking at, I like to look at the 1 hour chart the most when it comes to trading oil. You can see here, I mean, it's starting to show signs that everything's cooling off. I mean, our RSI isn't really high. Our MACD isn't crazy by any means. I mean, this thing definitely has room to run a little bit higher. I think it's going to at least go above 57 before retracing. That's my gut feeling. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see this retrace somewhere to around $55 short term. Like I said, within the next like 2 trading days. So, I mean, that'll be interesting to see. I'm kind of just holding out. I just wanted to go ahead and put some money in my account. That way, if or when oil decides to drop, I'll just buy some more shares. I was considering taking some UWT off because, like I said, it's approaching some recent, it's just above actually, the recent resistance, which is just above 15. It hit 1552, got rejected. So, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see, like I said, the next day or two. I'm probably not even going to end up taking any positions off the table. I don't really have enough where it's necessarily, I mean, obviously you always want to cover profit, but long term, like I said, I'm in oil long term. I'm in oil probably through somewhere around May to July is kind of where I'm looking for oil. You sold UWT for, how's it going there? I forget your name. I think your name's Julian, if I remember right, because you're in Discord. I forget. Sorry if I messed your name up. But sold some UWT for Gush. That might have been a smart move too, because I was looking at that. I was surprised. Let me get a drink real quick. Jim, yeah, sorry about that. I was considering doing that because UWT's been awesome, of course, but I saw Gush was down on the day, which was a little surprising. So I was like, I wonder if I should consider dropping some of my UWT, like you just mentioned, Jim, and purchasing some Gush. But for some reason, I've just kind of, I wouldn't say fallen in love with UWT, but I like UWT more than Gush. I don't know what it is. It just moves a lot better with oil, because like when we look at Gush and then we look at /CL, you can see, I mean, there's a pretty big difference. But then you look at UWT, it's pretty similar. See, we'll look at UWT versus Gush. See, I mean, there's a pretty big difference. I mean, obviously, Gush is still, for the most part, going to move along with oil, but UWT tends to move pretty close to just hand in hand with oil. So, for that reason, I'm investing more into UWT, but I'm definitely considering, especially if oil's down tomorrow and Gush continues to go down, like say to around $11, I'll probably consider purchasing a little bit of Gush. Not a lot, because like I said, I think overall oil eventually will pull back to around 55. Pull it back up here. Got Gush for $11.50. Yeah, that's about my average buy price actually. But yeah, I do think overall oil is going to pull back to around 55 at some point. Let's see what my average buy costs are right now. I know on Gush I'm only up about 2 or 3%. Or no, I'm only up 1.6%. So yeah, I mean, I'm not even doing that great on Gush, in all honesty. So my average buy cost is $11.41, so that's a little lower than I thought. But I mean, still not doing great. Gush definitely is not performing as well as I expected it to. But UWT, on the other hand, like I said, it's been, I mean, hell, almost 9%. So, I mean, yeah, I just kind of like UWT a little bit more. But I'm definitely going to have my hands dipped into both for sure. And then, of course, on days where I see oil going down, if I have the time during my work day, I'll go ahead and play some DWT or drip and make a quick little couple % profit along the way. But for the most part, UWT and Gush, those are the two that I'm obviously holding for the long term. DWT and drip are more of day trades, because obviously I'm not really bearish. There's no reason to be bearish on oil yet. Once it gets above 60 to 65, then yes, it's time to start being a little bit more cautious with the oil trades. But for now, I'm kind of just looking to add more positions. I missed a great opportunity this last week. It sucks that it had to happen when it did. I mean, that was literally right when I was in the mix of moving and everything, so I was unaware, but it is what it is. There's always opportunity. I know this thing's probably going to retrace to 55, probably sometime by the end of the week. In all honesty, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if it was tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then, like I said, with natural gas, I'm actually super. What do you guys think when it comes to natural gas? I don't know how many of us we got in here right now. Last I checked, it was like 3. Got 3 of us in here. Like, how many of you are a little bit bullish now? I'm a little bullish, in all honesty, on natural gas, especially since, again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, when we go back to that 3-year chart, every time we've tested this area of support, natural gas has bounced drastically. And now, obviously, this is a weekly chart, so we're talking a pretty long-term trade, like 1 to 2 months, kind of like oil, holding it for a couple months. But, I mean, like I said, right here, bam, we touched it. We went from 255-ish to over 3.7. We touched it here. We came all the way up to 3.4. We touched it again, roughly, here, and then we went clear up to 3.6. I mean, every time this thing has touched right around 2.55, it's essentially gone up to like 3. So, I mean, when you're looking at UGAS, which obviously you have decay, I know. Like I said, I'm not expecting this to go to like 260 or anything crazy. Could it? Of course, but again, I'm kind of a realist. This thing might go, what did I say, up to like 100 or something? let's go pull up the 180 day. Was it 180 day or 20 day? I thought for some reason I said something about 100. Let's go right here. So you're looking at least $40. So that's what, a 20. Where did I get, what was I looking at earlier? Where I said it was going to be like an 80% return. I think natural gas is going down. I can understand why, but like I said a second ago, if I were to get into you guys, it'd kind of be like my oil trade where I'm planning on holding this for a little bit of time. So I mean, if I held it till 40, you're actually talking about a 30 to 33% return on your money, and then if it can burst through that, you're probably talking close to 58. So then at that point, yeah, you are talking about a 90% return on your investment. But I would probably just go ahead and sell it off around 40 and take my 30% and run personally. I might hold a few shares just to see what happens. But that's what I'm looking at. At $30, I don't want to buy in right now, but it's definitely one that's on my radar, to say the least. I probably should set some alerts tonight. But yeah, like I said, I don't really trade natural gas quite. Like I said, I'm mostly oil. Oil I've been following since I was literally like 14, 15 years old. Because I don't know what it is, kind of just nerd out about just oil, gas prices, all that stuff. I've followed oil for years. I mean, what, like 8 years, something like that. I've been following oil, if not longer. I mean, I was like a kid whenever I started following oil, watching CNBC and all that. So I mean, oil just comes easier to me, whereas natural gas, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot to natural gas. But on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping the stream up because I have a dinner to get to in literally like 10 minutes. But luckily, we're only about 5 minutes away from it. But yeah. So as for the move, it was hectic. Our basement, our downstairs got flooded and whatnot like the first day. So it's just been crazy, and it was a lot more expensive than I expected, but luckily it still remained within the budget, so not too bad. But finally getting starting, at least, knock on wood, starting to get everything going and everything. So like I said, hopefully we can start doing these streams at the minimum at least every other day, and then eventually we'll go back to every day again, as long as my work schedule permits. But like I said, if you're new to the channel, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button below. We'd love to add you to this awesome community of like-minded individuals. We now have over 550 of us here. That is awesome. Let's push on up to 600 plus before long. And like I said, we have that Discord group chat. That's down in the description box. Super easy to join. You can join with your smartphone, tablet, anything you have like that. And like I said, there's over 50 of us in there as well. But yeah, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. And I'll talk to you, Jim, probably over in the Discord group chat, possibly tonight, if not for sure tomorrow. Talk about a little bit of oil and whatnot. But until next time, guys, keep on going out there, making your profits, covering your profits, and achieving some financial freedom this year. And I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow, but if not, for sure, probably within the next 1 to 2 days. Take it easy, guys.